right. We are going to start our meeting at 6:32. All right. Miss Nikki, we have a substitute city clerk tonight because we have another one in Ireland. Her son's getting married, so we wish her the very best and a safe travel back. But Nikki, would you? Yes. So would you give you a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Mangus? Mr. Hibbard?
Here.
Mr. Whitaker?
Here.
Ms. Portman? Here. Ms. Enlow?
Here.
Ms. Mendez? Here.
All right, thank you for that. Obviously now I need minutes from the 24th meeting, regular meeting. We need a motion to approve and a second, please. Paula's gonna.
Is this a motion to postpone to the next, or no? Yeah,
There-
May 22nd.
Oh. She's doing, I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say. I need to make sure we just approve it to move it. All right, so I've got to first approve the reading will be on the May 22nd meeting. We don't have the meeting, we don't have the notes for you today.
She didn't have
I
time.
apologize. No, it's all right. So we need approval to have the reading of the minutes, Mike, that is correct, on the 22nd. So I had a first from Paula, no, Paula and then Jenny. All right. Can I get a roll call on that, please?
Yes. Ms. Portman?
Yes.
Ms. Mangus? Ms. Mendez?
Yes.
Mr. Hibbard?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Ms. Enlow?
Yes.
All right. I was looking for do you have a copy of the contract for the Republic? 'Cause I don't have it. No, that was that's the,
Here's the summary, public contract.
oh, no, that's this one, yeah, this is the contract. All right, so, all right, for the first presentation, we just want to make sure you all know that we are actually signing the contract with Public Services. That'll start today, and then they'll be reviewed after 3 years to give us appropriate time if we're not satisfactory with their services. But they will have a 5-year renewal. So at that point, obviously, we can decide. But this council and the next council needs to decide that after 3 years, are they doing the things that we want to do as a contractor for us? So, but we are signing the contract this evening. So I wanted to make sure you all knew that. All right, next on our agenda is we have Ms. Courtney Burden here to make a presentation about what she's been working on. So Ms. Courtney, if you will. Oh, you gonna turn that on? Oh, and she has an assistant named Arthur Jones. We don't pay him for that.
We're gonna start off with, we don't need the Vanna's assistance just yet. I wanna just give some feedback for some things that we have going on with, the Downtown Business Association, one of the 2 associations we've recently created. We did meet on April 25th. It was a fantastic meeting. For those of you who attended, I appreciate it very much. The goals of the Downtown Business Association meeting is really to make sure that those folks who are directly impacted by what's going on in the city, downtown, and the park get the firsthand look at what we're doing, when we're going to start doing it, and if they have feedback and if they have some questions, comments that may even change how we're going to do or when we're going to do our plans, it's a great time to have open communication about that. So I was really, I was appreciative of those who showed up. I'll be honest, there are a couple people showed up ready to throw tomatoes on our plans, and they were they not? They were a little energetic, but they were energetic because they were fed some misinformation. And as soon as we cleared up their top 3 concerns, the whole energy of the meeting changed. And it was so good, and it was validating that that's an important meeting, that's an important association, and we're just gonna keep that going every 6-ish weeks. As things get moving in a quicker speed, we'll start to meet more often. But right now, we're looking at a 6-week turnaround, getting those folks. I think we'll have a lot bigger turnout next time because now people understand what we're trying to do. It is really like an open discussion. It's sharing plans, sharing pictures, sharing renderings with the understanding that this is not exactly what it's going to look like. We may make some changes, but this is a really good idea of what you can expect. So that part was, like I said, it was just validating to know that we really are on the right path with meeting with those folks every 6 weeks. And then the next up is the Cedar Grove Business Park Association meeting, and we're gonna have that in June. And that's more of an invite-only meeting because these things are specific to those businesses and those corporations that are inside the park. We're gonna talk about, you know, the information, the same information about what we're doing and how this may impact their businesses. But this is a focused conversation about how they can then get involved. How can these folks help us? And once you see a plan and once we show them some of our timelines and opportunities, I think that's how we will get some of these large groups involved. So I'm excited and motivated about that. And again, that's coming up in the middle of June, it's in the latter part of June. Anybody have any questions on those two associations? Again, for those of you who did attend, I appreciate it. It was
I want to add one thing. So one of the things with the industrial park, building that partnership with them, we have never engaged the businesses that come in here
Not one.
to actually be involved in that process. It's been a while. I mean, if it ever has happened. So we're actually going to these people that are building these industrial parks and asking, hey, can we partnership on other projects?
Right.
And maybe even investing some money, and we're getting some good response. Now, we've gotten some feedback, some other feedback we didn't like, okay? Because it was about the quality of the areas that are even back in the industrial park. Remember, we talked about what your properties should look like, we talked about what businesses look like, but we also include the industrial park. So building that association is to set up some standards, to build a partnership, and you're gonna see that influx of their money, they've got money to actually invest. And we've heard from Republic and Browning, a couple of them. There are gonna be others that are gonna wanna invest money in our city to help us out as well, because they wanna be those partners. That's what this is all about. And then same thing with the Downtown Association.
And even if you drive through that park right now, it's better than it was a month ago. And then if you drive through in 3 months, it'll be better than it is today. So we are taking away at some of the properties that are just eyesores. We are taking away at becoming more consistent and making sure that we have beautiful signage, wayfinding signage. And we just want those businesses to feel like they are a part of our community, not just because they are physically here, but because we are helping them with recruiting. We're helping them with a community engagement. How can they get involved with, so many of those places have opportunities. They have large groups that want to do volunteering and they need community service hours. So we want to make sure they know every opportunity in town to make those things happen. Really excited to talk briefly about, we have ongoing conversations. And again, if you've ever asked anybody for $15,000 or $700, it's not the easiest thing to do. And it's usually not well, sure, who do I make the check? It's cultivating relationships. It's showing plans and then re-showing plans and talking about timelines and who's in charge. And so we are working on and really, like I said, cultivating some relationships. Kinetic by Windstream is one of those. They definitely are interested in a partnership. We're just trying to decide how we're going to pair them up with what piece of the opportunities in downtown. U of L, that's a really big conversation, and I'm excited about where that's heading. And then Journey Church, they want to be a partner here. We're just trying again to figure out what is the best case. Because I have an example in my last piece of my report. We've been talking to First Harrison, and so had I just asked for that initial $5,000 and didn't cultivate a conversation, we wouldn't have been able to verbally secure a donation of $50,000 that we just received. So First Harrison is on board to sponsor the amphitheater, and their gift secures that they get the naming rights to that amphitheater in the city of Shepherdsville, and it is going to change what we can do with that amphitheater. So it's a really big deal. So I just appreciate patience from everyone involved, because again, I know it's kind of like, well, what exactly is she doing? I assure you, I am meeting with folks. I am talking about this. This person wants to move in this direction, but the VP wants to move in this direction, but the marketing person wants to move in this direction. Well, in this situation, that first $5,000 turned into maybe a $15,000, and it ended up into a $50,000 sponsorship because we kept chugging along. So again, it did take 2 months, but it also increased by $45,000. So I'll take that ratio. So I'm really excited about this one. This is not the last. There's just a lot of conversations going on. So I appreciate your patience, but I assure you there are so many special things coming. And just the one thing that I ask, and Arthur and Scott and others can probably give a much better timeline, but I think we have to change the expectation of when we're going to start seeing, a splash pad or the start of the amphitheater. It's not this year. And so I feel like we have to change the expectation of what people are looking for. Because if you think you're driving downtown Shepherdsville, and in 2 or 3 months, you're gonna start seeing these lampposts, it's just not reality, and I think it would be better served if we all get on a better timeline for what is realistic. And the reality is, we're gonna start demoing, we're gonna start excavating. So really, we are in destruction mode, we're in rearranging dirt mode for what? I mean, months and months and months, maybe even a year. So if we all know and we are informed and people are driving by and saying, well, I thought they received X amount of million of dollars, I haven't seen one thing. It's because we're trying to use every single one of those dollars so specifically and so mindfully and use every resource to the best of our ability. So I just ask that you ask questions before any frustration or timeframes get in. Well, ask somebody first so we don't have unnecessary frustration with our project. And that,
Two
my boss
things.
is
First of
my-
all, we know where Dan Klein lives, so if he doesn't commit to the 50, we know what place he is. Second thing is, she wasn't talking to any of you about being patient.
No, it's really my boss. I don't know if you've met the mayor, but
Go
he
ahead.
is the least patient person on the
And so
planet.
just what you guys catch a rendering of this is at least a glimpse of what it's gonna look like in the park, okay? There's a different, like she said, there's moving pieces in this,
It's
but
so special.
we like this rendering as a comfortable type of park, a couple thousand people. So again, that's what we're shooting for. Again, we deal with a floodway and a floodplain. So we're really under a lot of restrictions, but we think this is very suitable back there. Again, I would like to have it yesterday. She says, you gotta give it a couple of years, but at least you'll see that we're moving in the right direction on a lot of this. We'll have renderings throughout the park of areas that you'll see construction. So you guys can at least see what's going on.
Exactly.
What's the finished product gonna be like? Because I need to go by there every day, just so I'm okay.
Anybody have any questions for me? Thank you very much.
Courtney, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Oh, that's fine.
You said on Splash Park next year?
No.
You mentioned it.
No,
in
I
your-
was just saying that's an example of, if you're expecting to see that in the next 12 months, that's not it's just unrealistic goal.
On the Splash Park?
Yeah, we gotta tie it into
I
that,
don't
all the
have
development.
specific details, but the way I understand, just the demo and just some of the excavation projects are gonna take every bit of the next 8 to 12 months.
Is that where we're tearing those houses down and coming through there with the
Yep.
water lines?
It sure is. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so Ms. Paula's gonna, are you ready? All right, go get your counterpart and go up there and push that little green button over there, that button. All right? All right. What we want to do is have Paula and Deb here, two of the members of the beautification, just to give you a little update. We'd like at least once a month to talk about what they're doing, kind of the small things involved in here, some things that we want to see done, and then just tell us what you got
Okay.
going on.
Just give you an update on, do I need it fast that way?
You,
or what?
you better scream so the guy, hey, ask the guy in the back if he can hear you. If he's waving back, he
I'll
can hear
face
you.
this way. Okay, we're on the beautification team, and we're just trying to get some stuff
It's okay.
done for the city, and we've started, the flags, or I call them flags, but the actual banners, they were installed, thanks to Tom and all the public works, all them men. But I also want to thank Brian Whitaker, because we thought we had to go clean the flags, and we went over there and they were already cleaned, because the inmates one day, they went over and they cleaned them all, and they were perfect. We didn't have to do a thing to them, so that was really nice, and we appreciate that. And so they were out Thursday and they were out Friday putting the flags up around town, so it was nice to see that. What is that? Oh, Mike and I and Deb went also, but we opened a checking account for the fundraisers that we're gonna be doing. And we were in the negative, and today I deposited some money for the first time, so we're out of the negative, so that's good. That felt really good. And, but my passion is the flowers. And I wanna give a special thanks that, he's not here, Steve Phelps, he was talking to me about flowers and stuff. Why can't we have flowers? If anybody knows me, I love flowers. Ever since I can remember, my kids would ask me what I want. I would say, flowers, flowers, So I just love flowers. They make me happy. So we started planting flowers in front of Wendy's. It was Thursday, so about 4 or 5 hours, and then again on Saturday.
And it was
planted.
not easy.
No, it was not easy, that work, soil is like clay. But I wanna give thanks to these people, cause they helped. Lynn Cabrero, Bill and, Norma Henderson, of course Deb and Charlie Huffman, and Beth Allhouse. And Beth, she said she had some flowers to give us, and I said, yes, that would be great. Well, little did I know, she would come with a truck. And she opened up her truck bed, it was literally full of flowers, all kinds of perennials. So I was just like in seventh heaven, you know? And so we planted those all day. And then, Saturday, we went to Lowe's, cause they said they would give us some money, and we got it. We got stuff, we got mulch, and we got dirt, and we used all that. We didn't use the dirt, we're gonna use the dirt, we have new flower pots, and they're gonna be putting those out, I think, this week on Buckman. And so the dirt is gonna go in the flower pots. Of course, we do need more, and we'll need more mulch, but, you know, we've got a good start. It's a start, and it takes a team of people to do this. And, even Joe Hoffman, I mean, she's helped us, she's gone out in the community trying to, you know, getting people to donate stuff and asking for people to donate. Somebody else up there. I'm working on another fundraiser idea for t-shirts. I've got a few designs, but have to decide exactly which one. And, so really excited about that. Oh, and one last one, cause in front of Wendy's, it's not finished.
No,
I want it to be popping, really looking good. You know, you come into town, it's gonna look good. So, Mike Rice, if you're familiar with him, he has a lawn care service. I've been in contact with him. So he has said he will offer his labor for free to help us complete that area look better. So it just takes everybody, you know, couldn't do it without myself, Deb and everybody, and Mike is a good help, and his wife, it just takes everybody, and all the people working together, and I just appreciate all the help. And so Deb's gonna tell about the next fundraiser.
We have a fundraiser on June 11th. It's a spaghetti dinner, and for the price, you can't go to McDonald's and get a meal. This includes salad, pasta with meat sauce, breadsticks, dessert, and drinks for $5. $5. We have the tickets, so if anybody needs any, you can get them from me tonight. We are also having, it's a dinner, it's a fundraiser. We are also having a cake auction. The cakes are gonna be, we're gonna have a competition with these cakes. People are gonna bring cakes in. They're gonna be judged on different areas. If you want it judged on taste, you need to bring a cupcake or a small cake so that our judges can taste them. Because the cakes are then gonna be auctioned off. And all this money that we make is going towards our beautification.
And I'm gonna win.
Oh, no, he says he's
I
gonna
gotta
win.
bake a cake, Tom.
Yeah.
I
Charlie
know.
says he's gonna win.
Excuse me. Charlie, you gonna win? Yeah, let's do that.
So, everybody needs to bring cakes. Let's just
Could be.
load it up. It's a pure text
Could be a
ring.
big fight.
To join, yeah, to get into the cake competition, it doesn't cost you anything, except your $5 for your meal.
Yeah, free registration.
Free registration.
Yeah.
And we'll have all kinds of gift baskets and all kinds of things.
Yeah, giveaways and, so it's gonna be
It-
worth your money.
yep.
So, thank you.
So I wanna thank everybody. Thank you. If you will, turn that off. I-
Oh.
Yeah.
We are still in need of mulch and
Dirt.
dirt, because the flower pots we got, they're real big.
We're putting pastas and cannonballs in there right now, so we're in need of those also.
Thank you, ladies.
Yep.
Thank you. Just to add to that, what they're gonna be, beautification has a lot of things they're working on, like I said, putting the banners up and putting out flowers, but they're big focus on the downtown area, and we're gonna put some of that stuff up until we start construction, like you'll see nicer benches, you'll see the flower pots out there, you'll see some of that, but they're actually gonna be working on the flower pots, the trash receptacles, and the park benches. There'll be some donations on that. I know Courtney's working on the lamp post, but everybody will be working on lamp posts, and then there's the trees. Those are all the accessories, plus the awnings. I think you guys are working with the businesses down there. So there's a lot of things the beautification group doing. I just like it that they spent Thursday 4 hours in the heat. I mean, she had Paula had a suntan from here down, both arms.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
I also started a page, it's called Beautifying Shepherdsville.
right. Thank you, Deb. All right, well, thank you all for what you're doing there, and I know it's gonna get bigger and better. And I found out that she likes flowers. All right, well, that's good to know. If I ever get in trouble with you, hey, so I know how. And get them flowers to move in with them. All right, so I got really good news. I highlighted because we can say this publicly because we actually talked to the sellers. We've been telling people already, but I want you to know it's official. We have a contract on the Stout property, okay? We have and that's 60 days from now. That'll probably be it's gonna be the city's property. And that's one of the phases. We talked about the aquatic center, the indoor Olympic-sized pool. We talked about having pickleball courts and some other walking trails and maybe a fitness center, all in that. So that's going to be an area that's been kind of an eyesore for us that we're going to turn around and turn into something really nice for the city. So we're excited about that. We've got a lot of things going on. We talked about the streetscape and the things we're doing down there and also the park. But this is an integral part of what we're doing. So there's going to be some of this going on, but we're proud to announce with everybody's help up here. Council, I thank you for that because, I mean, that's just the first step of a lot of big things that are going to happen. So wanted you all know that. We also had something just come up that we've obviously got to take care of. We have an alarm system, a fire alarm system on this building. It's been and it's not working. Let's just put it that way. Hasn't been working for a while. So we found out a couple weeks ago that we did some things to check on it, and yep, it doesn't work. And even the one at the substation doesn't work. So needless to say, we have an emergency. We need to take care of this. We have to have a fire alarm system for the building. So we've sent things out to the council to let them know, and I want to make sure that we actually put out. I have to do an executive order, emergency executive order on this to make sure that we're following policy. So I need to put that out there because we need to have this for the building. We're not supposed to be without it, and Lord knows, we're trying to get everything ordered now. We got to get it approved. It's quite a bit of money, quite frankly, for that. So we've got to spend $120,000 in fire alarm system between this building and that substation. So unfortunately, we have enough money, thank you, Ms. Tanya, that we were able to look at some of the other capital expenditures accounts. So and we told this council that when we ever do that, we gave them the account we moved the money from to make sure this was taken care of. That was our obligation, that any time that we moved money in any account to another account, that's what we put in that email for you guys. I want to make sure that you knew that. But I do need to read this executive order. Oh.
Emergency Executive Order Number 23-05. In accordance with KRS 424.2604, the Chief Executive Officer, the Mayor, certifies due to the circumstances listed below that emergency exists and requires an agreement for services in excess of the $30,000 threshold set for bidding requirements. On May 5th, 2023, we received a quote from Johnson Controls to update the fire alarm system for the Shepherdsville Government Center and Fire Station 2. The current system is not operating correctly due to outdated parts that cannot be replaced. This is a safety issue that needs to be fixed immediately. The new system for both buildings will be a total of $123,424.86. This quote includes 2 inspections a year, monitoring, and no-cost maintenance. I, Jose Cabrera, declare this as an emergency to provide funds for the installation of the fire alarm system for the Shepherdsville Government Center and Fire Station 2.
Thank you. And again, before we make a motion on anything, I do want to make sure it was short notice for all of you, but I want to make sure that you know that this was obviously something we need to take care of. But if there's any questions and open for discussion, Mike, Bonnie, Brad, Jennifer, Peter. All right. I just want to make sure, again, we normally like to give you enough notice on things like this, but we got information that we're not going to be able to replace anything on that. We have to replace the whole system. So if there's no questions, I need a motion to approve.
motion.
Jennifer? Second. Paula, all right. Would you take a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Enlow?
Yes.
Ms. Portman?
Yes.
Mr. Hibbard?
Yes.
Ms. Mangus?
Yes.
Ms. Mendez?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, in our old business, moving forward, we have a second reading for our franchise agreement with Republic Services. Ms. Kaplan, can you read that for us, please?
Ordinance 023-016, an ordinance awarding an exclusive franchise agreement to Republic Services of Kentucky LLC for the right and privilege of collecting garbage from residential dwellings, municipal facilities, and commercial units in the city of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, and providing penalties for violations of the exclusive franchise. Summary. Number 1, sets forth that the bid of Republic Services of Kentucky LLC, hereinafter Republic, for the exclusive right and privilege of entering in and upon the streets and public ways of the city of Shepherdsville, hereinafter City, for the collection, hauling away, and disposing of garbage, trash, and refuse from residential dwellings, municipal facilities, and commercial units is granted to Republic for a period of 5 years beginning on May 8, 2023 and ending on May 7, 2028. 2, sets forth the city's option of extending the franchise for 3 additional terms of 5 years each term for a total length not to exceed 20 years. 3, authorizes the mayor to sign and execute the franchise agreement and incorporates the franchise agreement by reference therein. 4, sets forth that it is a violation of the franchise agreement for any person, firm, corporation, other than Republic to enter in and upon the streets and other public ways of the city for the purpose of collecting, hauling away, and/or disposing of garbage, trash, and refuse from residential dwellings, municipal facilities, and/or commercial units. 5, sets forth that each violation of the ordinance is classified as a civil offense for which a maximum civil penalty of $250 may be imposed for each separate violation. 6, the full text of this ordinance, Section 4 reads, as compensation for the franchise created and awarded through this ordinance, the city shall receive an annual franchise fee of $18,000 from Republic Services. 7, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability of provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication.
All right, so obviously, we've had conversations about this. This actually is, we'll need a motion to approve, but before that, I just want to reiterate to this council, okay? And again, obviously, the first time that we can review that will be after the first 3 years of this contract, because that falls within the 18 months, as we mentioned before, that if we do not like the services that were offered, that is that time to make sure that we make that change, okay? And I believe it's the due diligence, if we don't like the service that they're giving us, that we do it then, okay? And then it's not an automatic. It just allows me as the mayor, or whoever the mayor is, to renew that contract for 3 more times if they continue to give it the level of service that we ask. That's what this is about, more than anything else. Getting none, and when we do these things, I want to make sure we explain to the audience. It's not just a given they get to keep it. Republic's like anybody else. They have a service that we offer for our taxpayers. We demand that service. If we don't get it, we have ways and we have protocols that we can actually change that. So with all that said, I do actually have if there's any questions.
I've got one.
Yes.
Just a clarification on the pricing. It says there'll be a 4.5% increase yearly. Is that a guaranteed 4.5%, or is that up to 4.5%?
Up to, it's up to.
Okay. All right.
If I'm mistaken, I think that's right. Just read it again. Let me look at it again, but I thought that's what it meant. You good?
Because it is worded, there shall be a 4.5% annual adjustment for all services.
All right, let me double check here. You're gonna make me look at this again, because I haven't looked at it in a couple of days.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Go find out. What page is that on?
If you go towards the back where it's got the,
There's a chart.
yeah.
Oh,
under
I got
the,
you. I got you.
I was looking under the commercial chart, but yeah.
I'm looking at it. Yeah. Annual adjustment for all services, that is gonna be, actually each year. Okay? And again, that's probably within market, prices. Again, we're talking about just cost of living, we talk about cost of living raises, things that we do for services. They shouldn't expect anything less.
Okay.
All right, apologize for that. All right, any other questions? All right, can you need a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
All right,
Second.
Second by Bonnie. All right, can you give me a roll call, Ms. Nikki?
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Hibbard?
No,
Ms. Mendez?
Yes.
Ms. Mangus?
Yes.
Ms. Portman?
Yes.
Ms. Enlow?
Yes.
All right, well, thank you, council. All right, new business. Before we have this reading, I want to make sure that the fire department had to have a secret ballot, and we did get that done. Sergeant Hartless, right? All right, we got a 24-0. I got to count them all. I got to count them twice to make sure it was right, and I gave that back in a sealed envelope back. So they actually approved you guys doing this to this phase. Now, this part right now in our reading is actually for you to represent Local 5101. Once we have the second reading and we vote as a council, then the hard work begins, right? Then you guys begin working on a collective bargaining they want for the fire department. And again, it's obviously for them and the fire department and what they could deem necessary. They just want to have kind of a bill of rights, kind of like the police department has theirs. We think that's fair, obviously, for the stack, that we just want you guys to understand that we're a partnership. So again, in that process, I'll always tell you that, please, with your group, think about the future of Shepherdsville as you look at not only taking care of yourself, but the future. But anyway, with that said, Ms. Catherine, could you have the first reading on this, please? It's 023017.
An ordinance of the City of Shepherdsville, Kentucky, recognizing the International Association of Firefighters Local 5101 as the exclusive bargaining representative for the Shepherdsville Fire Department firefighters below the rank of major. Number 1, sets forth that the requirements of Section 32.71 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances for recognizing the International Association of Firefighters Local 5101 as the exclusive bargaining representative for the Shepherdsville Fire Department firefighters below the rank of major have been met. 2, sets forth that City Council recognizes the International Association of Firefighters Local 5101 as the exclusive bargaining representative for the Shepherdsville Fire Department firefighters below the rank of major. 3, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication.
What I'd like to do, if you don't mind, if there's any questions that not today so much as made up, you guys will reach out to you. If they have any questions, the second reading, obviously, this is just the formality of having you representing 5101. So we'll get that started. Thank you all for getting the vote in, and we'll see you next week meeting on that one. All right. Thank you, Ms. Catherine. All right, now we get to have some fun. So we actually have, as our city attorney mentioned last meeting, that we have some positions that were actually considered officers that would require a sworn oath. And in that process, we're gonna repeal that. But what we're doing is, you got them all ready to go? All right. So she's gonna have, we have actually ordinances from 023, 018, make sure I got this right, to 023 to 027. I think it was 9 of them.
Yes,
Yep.
yes,
So,
that's correct.
all right. So if you will, I'm going to have you first reading on all of these positions. These are the positions we mentioned last meeting that obviously we wanted to make repeal what was part of our ordinance back in 1991.
Well, the ordinances were actually enacted prior to that. This was from the codified 1991 version.
All right. I'll let you get started, Ms. Catherine.
All right. Ordinance 023-018, an ordinance repealing Section 32.15 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of Alcoholic Beverage Control Officer. Summary. Number 1, repeals in its entirety Section 32.15 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of Alcoholic Beverage Control Officer. 2, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication.
She has a few more of those to read, but obviously what we're doing is we're removing them from being the officer, being a sworn-in position. So, Ms. Catherine?
Ordinance 023-019, an ordinance amending Section 32.17 of the City of Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of City Clerk and Treasurer. Summary. Number 1, sets forth that Section 32.17 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances is amended to reflect the following: that the position created is that of Office of City Clerk and removes Treasurer from title. That the duties and qualifications of the Office of City Clerk shall be as set forth in Ordinance 019-283, passed on February 11, 2019, and any future amendments thereto. That the City Clerk shall be appointed to the office and removed from the office as set forth in KRS 83A.0803. That the individual taking office shall take the oath as required by Section 228 of the Kentucky Constitution, and that certification of the administration of the oath shall be in writing. That the compensation of the office of City Clerk shall be as set forth in Ordinance 019-283, passed on February 11, 2019, and any future amendments thereto, and sets forth that no bond shall be required. Section 2 number 2 provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication.
All right. Thank you again. Proceed.
All right. Ordinance 023-02, an ordinance amending Section 32.18 of the City of Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of Fire Chief and Disaster Coordinator. Summary. Number 1, sets forth that Section 32.18 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances is amended to reflect the following: that the position created is that of Office of Fire Chief and removes Disaster Coordinator from title. That the duties and qualifications of the Office of Fire Chief shall be as set forth in Ordinance 019-283, passed on February 11, 2019, and any future amendments thereto. That the Fire Chief shall be appointed to office and removed from office as set forth in KRS 83A.0803. That the individual taking office shall take the oath as required by Section 228 of the Kentucky Constitution, and that certification of the administration of the oath shall be in writing. That the compensation of the Office of Fire Chief shall be as set forth in Ordinance 019-283, passed on February 11, 2019, and any future amendments thereto, and that no bond shall be required. 2, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication.
All right.
Ordinance 023-021, an ordinance repealing Section 32.19 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of Fire Marshal. Summary. Number 1, repeals in its entirety Section 32.19 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of fire marshal. 2, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication. Ordinance 023-022, an ordinance repealing Section 32.20 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of maintenance worker. Summary. Number 1, repeals in its entirety Section 32.20 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of maintenance worker. 2, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication. Ordinance 023-023, an ordinance amending Section 32.21 of the City of Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of police chief. Summary. Number 1, sets forth that Section 32.21 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances is amended to reflect the following: that the position created is that of Office of Police Chief, that the duties and qualifications of the Office of Police Chief shall be as set forth in Ordinance 019-283, passed on February 11, 2009, and any future amendments thereto, that the police chief shall be appointed to the office and removed from the office as set forth in KRS 83A.0803, that the individual taking office shall take the oath as required by Section 228 of the Kentucky Constitution, and that certification of the administration of the oath shall be in writing, that the compensation of the office of police chief shall be as set forth in Ordinance 019-283, passed on February 11, 2019, and any future amendments thereto, and that no bond shall be required. 2, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication. Ordinance 023-024, an ordinance repealing Section 32.22 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of police officer. Summary. Number 1, repeals in its entirety Section 32.22 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of police officer. 2, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability of provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication. Ordinance 023-025, an ordinance repealing Section 32.23 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of Public Works foreperson. Summary. Number 1, repeals in its entirety Section 32.23 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of Public Works. 2, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication. Ordinance 023-026, an ordinance repealing Section 32.24 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of sewer plant operator. Summary. Number 1, repeals in its entirety Section 32.24 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of sewer plant operator. 2, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication. Ordinance 023-027, an ordinance repealing Section 32.25 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of computer systems specialist. Summary. Repeals in its entirety Section 32.25 of the Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to the position of computer systems specialist. 2, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication.
That's why I'm glad I'm mayor. Thank you, Ms. Catherine. All right, with that said, obviously, again, this is just, it's a formality. We apologize for the length of that, but that's obviously just something to get up to speed on how these positions are actually in our ordinances. So again, it's just bringing it up to modern day standards. Some of these things we don't even have anymore. All right, with that said, we do actually have a zoning, and we don't know if we have anybody here. This is for the zoning at Forest Hills. Let me see what I got here, 3.58 acres. Is there somebody here? Oh, you do. Come on up, sir, if you will. I'm doing well, sir. If you will, would you push that button until it turns green there on top there? Just right below it, right there. There you go. All right, sir. Just state your name and address, please.
Travis Howard, 442 Alyssa Brook Drive.
Travis Howard, okay. Yes, sir.
We're looking to rezone from ag non-conforming to R1 residential to bring it up to current code.
Okay. And I know there's been rumors, everybody says whatever you're doing, but you're residential, right? Obviously. And anything else you'd like to add towards that? Anybody?
No, that's really just this simple.
Right. So how many?
Simple.
So this area, are you looking to build more than one residence?
We would divide it into 2 lots and build 2.
2 lots. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like acre and a half, acre 3/4 each, something like that.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I appreciate you come up in support of that. Do we have anybody that's actually in opposition to that that's here? Travis, I appreciate you coming in. Like your shirt.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
There was something in here about a dispute over lateral lines and stuff, can you
Yes,
tell us
it was
what
on the
that's about?
neighbors. Yes, we've already taken care of that at the Bullitt County Planning and Zoning. That's already been addressed and rectified. We had there was an encroachment from the neighbor, and we did a quick claim deed and gave him that section of property.
Okay. All
So,
right, thank you.
Mr. Howard, that section then is actually on this one listed like tract 1C. So that, you're not requesting that to be rezoned, correct?
Correct, that portion we gave to them,
All right.
correct.
So then, I'm thinking it changes that acreage just a little bit by about that
point-
.2,
Yeah,
correct?
I think it was .10.
19. Okay.
19, okay, yeah.
.192, okay.
Correct.
I just want to make sure that we're as accurate as possible on. So I'm going to, that'll be my first reading, yeah, it doesn't affect the first reading since I asked before.
All right.
So, I was just asking for our first reading so that it was
Just want to
accurate.
make sure the number's right on acreage. All right, Travis, thank you for coming up here. Like the shirt. Oh, would you push that button for me, sir? Thank you. Where's Joe Fleming when you need him? Sorry, not even here. All right, if you will, first reading on this zoning, please.
Ordinance 023-028, an ordinance amending the Bullitt County City Zoning Order and the Bullitt County City Zoning Map as amended, changing the zoning of 3.379 acres more or less located at Forest Hill Road in the city of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, also known as parcel 037-000-00-051C, from agricultural to R1 residential. Summary, number one, rezones approximately 3.37 acres located at Forest Hill Road in the city of Shepherdsville, Bullitt County, Kentucky, from AG agricultural to R1 residential. Two, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability of provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication.
Thank you. Ms. Catherine?
Okay.
All right, so we have another reading from Ms. Catherine from 023-029.
I got it. Did you say you wanted to say something about that?
You want to say that one?
Well, I want to say something about this? Okay. Let me explain why we're doing it? Okay. Sorry. All right, so the reason that this is being amended, it's just so that the language in our current garbage that talks about the penalties, if somebody else comes in and collects it, matches the language of the franchise agreement that we're doing. That's really all it was for. It doesn't really change anything substantive. I just felt like the way that the franchise ordinance was written, and that could just be a little tighter. So that's why we're amending it. So ordinance 023-029, an ordinance amending sections 51.01 and 51.99 of the City of Shepherdsville Code of Ordinances related to garbage. Summary number one sets forth that section 51.01B amends what constitutes a violation of the ordinance. Two, sets forth that section 51.99 amends the penalties for violations of the ordinance. Three, provides for repeal of inconsistent laws, severability provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication.
All right, do you want to say what you were saying? I want her to say that to you, because it's actually more of the verbiage in this that matches everything we've been trying to do. So it's like, when she noticed something in some of our ordinances, she's just trying to make sure that the language is the same all the way across the board. So some of this is a lengthy process. Again, we'll be doing this probably for the next 3 years, 4 years. It's the idea of just making sure we're consistent about this, because, again, as my city attorney mentions it to me, if this does not match, how does it hold up in court? So we're just trying to make sure we're dotting i's and crossing t's. Not the most fun, not the most exciting part, but thank you, Ms. Catherine, I appreciate that. All right. All right, so we actually need to, we have no sign-in speakers, but I'll tell you what, we need to go to executive session for about 5 minutes. So I need a motion to go into executive session. Faith, is that, I need a second, please.
Second.
All right, I need a can you give me it's Jennifer.
Hang on, before we take a vote,
No.
we need to say why we're going into executive
Yes, yep,
session.
I'm sorry, that's your deal.
So we are going into executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810C to discuss pending litigation against the city and the city council. Now we can
All right,
do our vote. Sorry.
did you get all that, Tom? All right, we'll make sure you got it for you. All right, can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Hibbard?
Yes.
Ms. Mangus? Ms. Mendez?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Ms. Portman?
Yes.
Ms. Enlow?
Yes.
All right.
All right. Thank you, council. 5 minutes, we'll be back. Bye. We'll be back. I promise we'll be right back. All right, thank you for your patience. I need a motion to come back.
I'll make a motion to return.
I need a second, please. I got a Faith on the first and Ms. Paul on the second. Can I get a roll call, please?
Ms. Enlow?
Yes.
Ms. Portman?
Yes.
Mr. Hibbard?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Ms. Mendez?
Yes.
Ms. Mangus?
We just want y'all to know, no action was taken at this time. We appreciate your patience. All right, with that said, I'm looking for planning and zoning. I don't have anybody here for that. I don't see Dwayne Price anywhere. I'm sorry? Oh, I heard something there. All right, department reports. I have Tom here first. I saw you up there, sir. Putting up banners. Thank you for doing that. Come on up here.
Absolutely. That's the easy stuff.
All right, come on up here.
Yeah.
Push
Hard
it.
stuff is our blacktop. Do I need that?
Yeah, well, you know, if you're loud enough, you do what you do.
But what I'd like to let everyone know is we are in blacktop mode. You're gonna see a lot of equipment out there. You're gonna see a lot of equipment being moved.
Good.
Please be cautious. Take your time. I know people get in a hurry and people get hurt, so watch for us.
People get angry. I heard the last time.
Yeah, you know, they complain because there's a hole there. They
Like,
complain
cause
more
you're
'cause we
blocking
fix
the
it.
way. Yep.
So Tom is in a situation, obviously, where, as we've talked to some of the residents, we're doing triage on basically the ones to do first. If we try to do every pothole here, it would take forever. And again, we are working through this process.
And another thing we're doing, we've moved some drainage projects recently. They're actually starting tomorrow over on the northeast side of town. We've got some drainage projects. They weren't originally scheduled till next month. They start tomorrow. So watch out for those folks that are around Circle Drive, Jackie Way, Tollview, and so forth. So
To clo-
questions from the council?
Yep, and we've got some, I know too, when we get it all lined up, I know we're finishing up, Paul's got the itemized list for the items. We'll make sure that from an ARPA standpoint and money-wise, we've got to send something to Kip, the lady we work with, but we'll give you guys a heads up on some of those projects for the ARPA money that's left.
Hall has, just so everyone knows, Hall has finished their large contract work from last year. Now what they're doing is, it's contractual work, but now they're the much smaller areas. Those areas, and they're literally bouncing around from subdivision to subdivision, moving lots of equipment, tractor trailer loads of equipment, because they're having to mill a lot of stuff, blacktop a lot of stuff. And some of those areas are literally as long as this room is wide, and as wide as the road. So there's a lot of that moving out there as well. While we're out there doing it, while we've also got some folks doing some drainage projects, so.
Any questions? Tom, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. All
Thank you
right,
for
sir.
everything.
All right, I know I see Mr. Chief Lane back there. You want to come up and say hey to everybody?
Actually, want everybody to know about our new software we put in.
Just real quick, the fire department's on our social media pages. We put in what's called Shepherdsville Community Connect. And what it is you can go in, log into it, register on it. You can pre-plan your house. The only people that have access to it is the fire department. If you have pets, have elderly people living with you or in the house, you can put the locations where they can be found if we have a fire run to your house. You can put your gas shut off, your electric shut off, everything on that. And when we are dispatched to a fire at your address, it comes up on our computers and our apparatus, and it basically gives us the layout of your home and any emergencies that could possibly be there that you enter. So.
No, I think it's going to be really good. That's
It's
really
gonna be
good.
awesome. Do great.
All right, thanks, sir. And we're also we're just beginning on some evacuation for the city and different plans. We've got some other things working, but we'll kind of work that. You don't need that now. We had y'all covered. All right, thanks, Chief. I think Chief Schmidt's trying to go for the best dressed here. Come on. Chief, how are you tonight? Long time no see.
Tennessee was nice, the Derby was nice, but I'm back to work now, so. Just a few things. We're continue to work on our accreditation. Part of where I was at with Tennessee was some of the people from Kentucky. They had a big conference, and people that's going to be doing our audit. I've met with them a couple of nights down there. I think we're probably in really good shape. We're about 90% of the way there now. We've got till July to get it done, to get our 5-year accreditation, which again helps us with our discount on our insurance and all that. A lot of the other stuff we're doing is kind of in the background. It's not a lot that people can see right now, but we're building the blocks to where when we get it all in place, one of the things is we're going to a new website, which we've been working on that today for the entire city. Once we get that, we're gonna be able to do some more stuff on our website, more interactive with the community. I'd like to see kind of a virtual block watches that we can run through that. Some other programs we're looking at is people can kind of roam out with their houses, but that have the ring cameras, the cameras that maybe, you know, they can let us know, hey, we have these if there's something in our neighborhood. And that's a resource that we can tap into, and that'll be a little bit more too, where we can have a new website that we can find that out. So like I said, just a lot of stuff we're doing in the background that you really don't see, but we're getting the building blocks where hopefully in a few more months we'll be able to really take off. So I'll open up to any questions y'all might have on me.
Steve, you've done really good. Yes, Mike?
Something that I really do see is a lot more officers out strategically placed in different areas. That's good. Thank you.
Thank you. That's what we're trying to make sure that they're in the subdivisions more and also at the different places. So, thank you.
You were looking for him, right?
No, I own $5 now, yeah. So.
They were looking for you. Yes.
There's,
Yes.
I was telling him earlier that there has been some police officers on the second entrance of Bullitt Central sitting over by the consignment shop. And if the traffic gets, too backed up, you'll pull out and let us go in or come out. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah. I know we made that a focus, and I appreciate it, Chief. I know there's a lot of opportunities, but I think you guys have done really well. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Now. Well, Arthur, I see you hiding back there. Come on up here. I know you're shy. Nice. Yeah. I do want Arthur to talk just if you could do just a quick synopsis of some of that we talked about, the amphitheater, but just a few words about kind of some of the plans. There are a lot of cool things behind the scenes being done now, but any thoughts or any?
Absolutely. Of course, you touched on it earlier, Mayor, when you were talking about property acquisition. Of course, right now, the very first phase of these big projects we've got going on is going to be property acquisition. So as we get prepped and ready to go into construction, the first things first, we have to have the land to do so. And so property acquisition, easement acquisitions, we're working through those right now. You signed an easement earlier today to help Louisville Water, just more progress. Our cooperative efforts between other utilities and ourselves, something you may not be aware of, but that's always working in the background here at the city. And then whenever it comes to these large projects, when we're talking about the park expansion, the whole master plan implementation, the streetscape and the aquatic center, all of those running simultaneously, that means that simultaneously all of the design is happening right now too. So you saw a few snippets on the screen that were showing the amphitheater. We're also doing the same thing with the entire layout at the park. And so all of this is going to be tied into each other so that whenever you come into the park, everything is well thought out about where the placement of the parking is going to be, to the restrooms, to the fields, to each and every piece, so that whenever we have this full connectivity throughout our community, it's very walkable. So when somebody comes from downtown, they're walking straight into our park. It all just becomes a seamless transition. You can come straight from the park, straight to the schools over on West Blue Lick. And so the outdoor classrooms are going to get a lot more use because there will be full pedestrian access. You'll be able to walk from the classroom to the outdoor classroom, to be able to see the wetlands, to be able to see the walkways. Like, it's all going to be connected, and that's all very much on purpose because we're trying to not just be a city, we're trying to be a community. And so that connectivity is really, really crucial for us. But at the same time, we're also looking into the future so that not only are we building this park and our downtown, but we're looking at how we're going to be able to connect that over to the industrial park into the future. If we were to have another bridge across Salt River, how that gets tied in, and then how we get connected to the parklands. And so we realize that's 30 years into the future. That may be after some of us are no longer in these positions, but we have to plan now if we're gonna be able to make these happen, you know, decades from now. So right now, there's a lot of planning effort that's going into that, and part of that is going to the funding sources that are available from the federal government. Right now, we have some emergency funding that's came to Bullitt County, and we were the first to raise our hand. You know, we want to find a way to bring some money back into Bullitt County and back into Shepherdsville for our people here. And so there's a meeting tomorrow morning where we're gonna be sitting down and going into details about what that might mean for us. And as soon as we have better details on that, I would love to share that with you guys.
I appreciate that. And just so you know, some of the things that we've actually put out there, pretty nice, some of the drainage issues, some of the big drainage project that we have on the plate, we've actually moved up in line because of our relationships. We've worked hard with the state, transportation department, and trying to get them to understand that, and actually the water division, District 5, we've been talking to them a lot. So we've built these relationships that are getting us to be looked at as, hey, this is an opportunity. One thing that people will see, not only from the state, but also businesses are noticing that we're investing money in our community. That's where we're starting to see now that the private industry is noticing that we're investing in Shepherdsville. They want to invest as well. So, Arthur, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I was going to say, I think she's gone. And Nikki, would you like to say something for city clerk, for the admin staff? You would like to say anything? All right, she's good, just like Brenda. She's just like Brenda. All right, what? Yeah, no, well, no. All right, real quick, a couple notes before I get to the council. I do want to make sure, remind everybody, May 20th, we're going to have a walk with the mayor, 8:30 in the park. It's just to promote health, getting out and walking, talking about our city, what we're going to be doing. So please keep it in mind. If you've got about an hour worth of time or so on Saturday, May 20th, we're glad to have you out. Love to have you out for a little bit. I'm sorry? Colton's Club. What I tell you? All right. Now, it's 8:30 for registration. Be there by 8:30. Also, what Mike is mentioning, obviously the fundraising part of this is any money that we receive, it was actually going to go to Colton's Clubhouse. We're trying to help them with some activities we're putting on at different venues. So any money we raise for them, obviously, we'd like to do that Saturday. But I got to tell you, next day, food truck invasion. That's right, but I'm going to hold off, let you do that, all right?
Okay.
I just want to mention, the car show Friday night was outstanding, and this goes for the community, it goes for the people, Chris Stillwell that put it on. They did a wonderful job, we had great weather, and it was really an enormous event for the community, for everybody to be out. You can tell people are thirsty for having events, being outside, enjoying the park. It was just to know that they've got so much more coming, that was awesome. And then as the chief mentioned, a new website, we're working on that, we've been in meetings all day today, talked about that. Easier to navigate, really find a way, one-stop shop, get there and decide what you need to contact or who do you need to contact in the city. So we've got a lot of cool stuff happening. As we mentioned, our budget, so we're finishing up that. We're doing that. May 22nd will be our first reading. And then obviously June 12th, we'll have our second reading on our budget, but we'll also have the big promotion on the $30 million that we're going to receive. So we're excited about all that. But anyway, Paula, since you talked about beautification, what else you got for us?
I have tickets. If anybody wants to purchase a ticket for the spaghetti dinner, I have them. Deb has them. Mike has them.
All right.
So that's all.
All right. Paula, thank you for all what you guys are doing together. Mr. Mike?
The only thing tonight, I just want to kind of explain something. I did vote no tonight on the garbage
Yes, sir.
renewal. Not because there's any problem at all, as I've stated before, have absolutely no problem whatsoever with Republic Service. And I don't foresee if a renewal or whatever is based on their service, or not living up to their contract, I don't see that at all. They're very good at that. They're excellent at that. The only consideration I had was, for the first time since I've ever been involved with things here, the city got to the point where we only had one bid, and we've never had that before. And the new contract, I think, or the new process sets up almost an automatic continuation unless it's for violation of, with service. So we could be looking at the same one for years and years simply because of a new process. And I don't like, personally, I like to have competition. I like to see the citizens get the best deal they can for the services provided. And we may have gotten that, I don't know, because there's nothing to compare it with. So that's my comment, that's all I have this evening.
Okay, thanks, Mike. All right, Ms. Faith?
All right, I got a couple of things, but the very first thing I have is I'm asking everyone in here to please keep Tony Thompson and his family in his prayers. He lost his wife Friday, and so I've spoke to him several times, and he's just needing a lot of prayers right now. So I appreciate if everybody do that. I also wanted to bring up May the 21st, the food truck invasion, which will start at noon and go to 5. We will have a band called The Swerve, and if you've never heard of them, you better look them up on Facebook because they're pretty awesome. They're going to be there from 2 to 5. We're going to have lots of food trucks, I think like 17 to 18 food trucks. Some are local, some are Louisville. We invited all the local, those are the only 2 that wanted to come.
All kinds of different food.
We'll have
All
beer.
kinds of
Oh
different
my gosh, you
beer and
cannot
wine.
believe the food is crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. But I wanted to mention that, and I do want to say thanks to Tom for going and making sure Circle Drive's fixed, because it is a nightmare, and I appreciate that. And the mayor for looking into it. I was in Mexico and got a call about it, so anyways, I am a little disappointed, though, that we're not going to get our splash pad before a year. But I'll deal with it, because Tom and I worked hard on that, didn't we, Tom? A lot of blood, sweat, and tears and hours. But it's okay. It'll happen. I know it will.
No,
So-
absolutely. Just to add to that real quick, the reason why, there's so much more cosmetic, work that's gotta be done to
Yeah,
the park
I know.
now. That's the only reason, because
And we do have everything.
Lines in there to Salt River first.
Yeah.
We don't wanna mess anything up.
Everything's paid for and done with, so it'll be there, I promise. It's just that we took a lot of hits on that because it wasn't up yet, and that, but anyways. And I also want to thank everybody that's here. I want to thank the council for us working so hard together, and Catherine for all your work with the emails, and thank you. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Faith.
And I want to say I'm very proud of my grandson. He's graduating from college on Wednesday, but tonight he's graduating from the KY Fame program that was at Bullitt Central's Vocational. So we didn't get to go see it, but we'll be there Wednesday night. But I'm very proud of him. He's worked hard for this, so I had to say that. Thank you.
And you ought to be proud too, all right?
I am.
All right. Well,
Just proud.
all right. Ms. Jennifer?
I don't really have anything. I'm coming off of my little mini vacation, so
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
really have.
Well, welcome back.
I'm still in vacation mode. But Tom, can I talk to you after?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Brad?
Yeah, got one thing. With all the other good news we've got, it's apparently Public Service Appreciation Week. I can't believe you didn't bring this up.
I'm sorry.
It's where we recognize all of our government employees at the federal, state, and local level. So just want to give a heartfelt thank you to all of our hardworking employees. I dare you to find another city that has employees that work as hard and care as hard as ours do. So from me, I want to give you a heartfelt thank you. That's all I have.
We do get a lot of compliments, and I can tell you, I tell people you don't do it without a team. Okay, this is a good group of folks that we're working with to get stuff done. And I'll tell you, I'm very appreciative of this council. We've been getting things done. We're 4 months into this. We can list a number of things that we've got accomplished, but we did it together. And that's why I'm proud of all you guys, because we'll get there. Maybe not as fast as I want to, but okay, that's okay. But I do think we're getting there, and we're getting there in a good way. We're working together, and that's important. It means everybody that works in the city and folks within the city, we're getting a lot of comments about how can I help and how can I volunteer. And that's a big deal. That's gonna be a big part of what we're doing. So Brad, thank you. Way to cover me.
That was great.
Gotta get my back, buddy. All right, Miss Bonnie?
I do not have anything this week.
All right, no, she's smiling now. She was a little under the weather, so I'm glad she's feeling just a little bit better, but we're glad to have you here. All right, if that's all said, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn. Oh,
No.
don't be waving to us yet. I need a motion first. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Oh, you did, I'm sorry. And Mike?
Second?
All right, can I get a roll call on that, please?
Ms. Enlow?
Yes.
Ms. Portman?
Yes.
Just had to mess with your daughter. Just had to mess with her.
she looked at me.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Hibbard?
Yes.
Ms. Mendez?
Yes.
Ms. Mangus?
Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it a whole lot. And we finished before 8.
You look at me like I'm gonna kill you. I wonder how